All righty, everyone.
Smooth as
Thank
gravy.
you so much for joining us. Holy cow. So much you can do with this little program. It's great. I love it.
Unfortunately,
For
not correctly.
What's that?
Unfortunately, not correctly.
Wow, really?
Bless his heart.
Yeah, bless his heart. Yeah.
What was wrong with
Oh,
that?
bless his
Tell
cotton
me.
socks.
Tell me. Go ahead. Tell me. Let's hear your critique, Mr. Director.
Well, it was nice to see that,
Yeah, bang,
one
bang,
phase,
bang. Yeah.
second phase, third phase.
I did that on purpose, though.
I think he did.
Yeah, I let him off.
Well, we have to do the most important first. That's for sure.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, 15,
We know
15
that.
all. 15 all.
Oh, I tell you. I'm sorry, Ruff. We'll just wait until you have to do it on your side. And
I
have
know.
to
I'm
learn
dreading it. I'm
because
dreading
next
using
week.
this
Oh
week.
man, I am going to
Yeah,
hammer you.
we're-
with every
I know.
little
I know.
thing.
I'm
Yeah.
dreading it. I'm dreading it. But anyway,
We're not going to pull any punches for you.
I know, and that's why I get my own.
Oh, the
back
gloves
as quick
are
as I
coming
can,
off
when I
next
can.
week, boys.
Yeah. When I can.
All right, it's going to be a good week. We had a good week this week. A lot of things going on. We got a lot of things to talk about. Our subject this week is randomness in games. How much is a good thing? How much is a bad thing? And how much is too much? I'm going to give you guys some different situations and then hear what you have to think about that. There's a lot to talk about when we talk about randomness. Obviously, every game's got a little bit of randomness, whether you're rolling a dice or drawing a card or drawing shits out of a cup. That's all randomness. Sometimes that's really good things and sometimes it's not. But before we get into any of that, let's say hello to the co-host. I've got a lot of things to talk about myself. But first, Ruff, did you get a video done this week?
I started and I've been ill for the no, listen, I haven't been well for the last 3 or 4 days. So I started off, I finished the unboxing of New Cold War. I've got to edit that and actually starting the next patrol on Skies Above Britain. Then the lurgy hit, not sure what it was, went straight down to the old tummy area, feeling nauseous and all that sort of thing. So I'm getting better now. But yeah, next week, you won't know what's hit you. But also news in the news. I said this in the green room. They were knocking. London is a weird sort of place. Yeah, it's a very ancient place. And when the Romans came and enslaved us for 300 years, so reparation. Be quiet. So when they came over, they landed at this place, was a little settlement, which they later renamed Londinium, but they used that just as a landing off stage, and they went inland. And once they captured Colchester, that was it. That was their base until they decided to move it back to London because of the Thames and all the trade and all that sort of thing. But in London, I don't know if you know, there's the inner part of London, and it's spread out over the sort of millennia. And the city of London, which is like a little bit in the middle, is where, you have all your sort of big businesses. And then you've got the square mile within the city of London, which is the financial part, or one of the financial parts of London. And in that, they were knocking down an office, and in the basement, they came across a 2,000-year-old excavation. They found, which they reckon is the site of the original Basilica of Londinium, 2,000 years old, found on this construction site. And it's even over your part of the world, it's been in the papers, isn't it? So, or on the news. So, and what I'll do is, I should have got it up before we started, but there's a sort of YouTube channel called the Lotus Eaters. They tend to be a bit political, but they have one of the guys is a historian like yourself, Nate, and his speciality is Roman history. And there's a half an hour video that he's done with another co-host talking about the Roman stuff in London, and he goes out a bit more because England, especially, and the southeast, is sort of inundated with Roman bits and pieces, artifacts, and it's a very interesting little chat he has. So I'll put the link up in the chat so you can go and check that out.
Yeah, if you want to send that to me, I can put it as a scroll or something.
I'll put it in the private chat. Hold on, let's have a look.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Well, but that's about it. Hopefully next week will be a better sort of thing going on. So, but yeah, Nate, what about you before we go on to Jester?
Well, so I'm sure that you may or may not have seen the news yesterday that in Egypt, for the first time since 1922, that a pharaoh's tomb has been found in the Valley of the Kings. It was Pharaoh Thutmose II, who was the husband of Queen Hatshepsut, who eventually became Pharaoh herself after Thutmose II died. And so now we already had, the archaeologists already found Thutmose II's body. It was moved. Apparently, I guess once they found the tomb itself, it seemed that the tomb started after they had excavated it, or excuse me, after they had hollowed it out originally 2,000 years ago, that it started to flood. The tomb did. So they moved all of the stuff out of the tomb, moved the body somewhere else, and eventually that's where the body was found. But the tomb was still unknown. The location was unknown up until recently. And they knew that it was a royal tomb because of all of the inscriptions that were still written on the tomb specifically. And so that was pretty cool that was discovered. First time in over 100 years. So there's still some other pharaohs that have eluded historians. One of them in particular, I would love for them to find someday, would be a guy called Akhenaten, who was the first pharaoh to get rid of polytheism and instead moved to the worship of the sun disk called the Aten. And he was considered a heretic by the Egyptians after he died, and they still haven't found him yet. So maybe, but anyway, that's the other historical news.
Yeah, some interesting, good stuff going on.
I did though this week. I finished up playing the Italian campaign from the campaigns in Europe. This game is interesting in that it's not hard. The rules aren't hard. It's only about 16 pages or so. And I can tell there's something good here, but it feels to me that it needs just a little more development time. There's some errata in the rule book. There's some kind of ambiguities that I'm still not clear on. It's not like it's mentioned, like I've looked on forums that it's mentioned, oh, you can do this, but it's not actually specifically mentioned in the rule book itself. So I think just a little bit more development is really going to make this game and this system shine. Because what's here, like you can tell what it's trying to do, and it's very good. It's very, very good. So we'll see. As I know that they're about ready to publish the expansion for it.
We've had this chat. We had one of them was, are magazine games any good? And I think one of the problems with it is they have to rush them out because they're on a sort of time scale. So there's going to be a lot of things. It's a shame, but as you say, there's something there. Yeah,
there is something really, really good here. Really, really good here. So, but Ruff, you'll be pleased to know that I set up, read the whole rule book, and am ready to go on this.
It's not bad, is it? The rule book, not bad.
Oh my gosh, it's super easy to go through.
Yeah.
I mean, this game, just from all appearances in the rule book, seems to be a very well thought out and well put together game. So I'm excited. I'll probably start playing this as soon as the show is over.
It's a 2-mapper though, isn't it?
It is a 2-mapper.
That's the only problem, you see. 2 maps and I'm... But there you go.
And one thing that I was just astounded, which was so cool, is that the player aids...
There are cards
in there. They're on solid card. Yeah. So, and you get 2 of them. And they're great. I mean, like everything that I need is right on the player aids.
Has it got the little solo board in that one as well?
It does.
So you don't have to reach across the map. It's all there.
Correct.
So when you're playing solo, it's great, isn't it? They've thought
How many scenarios are there?
Just one.
Yeah,
okay. The whole thing.
Just get the one scenario.
I think it's split up into
the whole kit caboodle. You can't do like half the scenario or anything.
No.
You can't play like the first 5 days or something? I can't remember, to be honest. It was a while since I looked at it.
I don't think
Is it
so.
only just full in?
I think it's just the full 11 turns.
Right.
It doesn't seem like it's going to take that long at all. Actually, so this was interesting. Yesterday, I came across, at one point we were talking about AI. Well, I'll wait until Jester tells us about his week, because I have something that I discovered that might be helpful for wargamers concerning AI, because we talked about it not too long ago. So go ahead, Jester. What was your week like?
Oh, let me tell you, this is a busy, busy week. I did 21 videos this week.
I tell you what, you're doing Dan's head in. All right.
I know. He's about ready to have a cow.
Yeah.
I sent him my little screenshot. I said, "This isn't everything. This is all I could fit on my. This is all I could fit. So you're just gonna have to make do with it." Oh my God, he had a cow about it. Anyways, two main things that happened this week. Number one, once again, Jester wins against Cardboard Commander. I mean, was there any doubt? Was anyone worried? Was anyone thinking?
I'm surprised he still asks you to play, actually. I would have
4-0
kicked you such a long time ago.
Cardboard Commander, I don't know if he's going to game with me anymore. I think he's getting sick of getting beat up every week, and he's going to start looking for somebody else too. And so I'm undefeated on the Cardboard Combat Commander ladder, undefeated. I think I might retire with the crown on my head and be done with it. And so
sounds like that. I mean, sounds like playing with you is just a foregone conclusion. Like,
yeah, I'm kind of the Tom Brady of wargaming. Kind of the Tom Brady of wargaming. I don't know what it is. It's just I got a game in on Tuesday as well. We played Fighting Formations, our second episode of Fighting Formations against Nerd Workshop. He's getting dominated. He's about ready to cry home to mommy as well. So undefeated world champion.
do you get a little trophy?
Just every week, my head just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I don't know.
I think it's not like, oh, I was lucky and well done to the other players. They were, I threw a few. I was lucky. So none of that.
I had Patrick pull out the most one-sided scenario of all time, where the British had like this 98% chance of winning. It cost me a pizza, but I sent Patrick a double-decker pizza. And and I said, make sure all the newbies get the good side. And so I got the British rough. And let me tell you, I only let I think one or two of the Brits die. And there was dead Germans everywhere.
Yeah, as it should be. God bless
Britain
and the Commonwealth.
He whined and cried the whole time about, oh my God, I can't get anywhere. My smoke isn't working. I can't get this. I can't do that.
Patrick, I haven't heard that expression for a few years, but he says you're clutch.
I am clutch. That is true.
Yeah. Jester is all choked up with humbleness.
Yes, he is. That's what makes him such a great opponent.
Mm-hmm.
I awesome. That's humble. The thing. I care about my opponents, and I don't try to humiliate them too badly. That's why they keep coming back to me. I'm pretty sure.
Dear, oh dear, oh dear.
So that was the first thing that happened. Then the second thing that happened, and it happened actually the same night, which was Thursday night. Thursday was a good day for me. I went over to Viper Dave's house. You guys have seen Viper Dave come in.
We know Viper
Dave. And this, that, and the other thing. Well, he messaged me years ago and said, hey, I live around the neighborhood. If you want to come by sometime and, say hi or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I've always I have always just kind of put him off because it's weird meeting people that know you. Ruff, isn't it weird? You've experienced that, where you show up to cons and people walk up to you and say, oh, yeah, you're Ruff Swordsman. And they talk to you like you're their long lost Betty, but you don't know them. You don't know who they are.
Yeah, anybody that does that, I'm humbled that they actually make the time to come up and see me because I'm nobody. So,
should make a distinction. Truly humbled.
Truly humbled? Is that
versus this humbleness?
Oh, I see. No, I'm for real humble. No, it's wonderful.
I was humbled. I don't like meeting
I'm
people
just
that know
messing
me.
with you.
I
I don't like meeting
up.
people that know me because I always feel like, okay, what am I supposed to say? I'm afraid of saying the wrong thing. You know how my mouth
Right.
is.
Oh, yeah.
I'm always afraid I'm going to say the wrong thing and piss somebody off.
Really?
Yeah, true. So I went over there. So you finally decided, hey, I know you're looking for some games. I've got some games. I'm going to be moving sometime, and I wanna donate some games to you. And then if you're interested, I've got some other games that you guys can take for the club, and then maybe give away as gifts and prizes and everything. So so he did give me a few things this week. I got a little copy of Crowbar here.
That's a good one.
Nice. I got a copy of
Hey, Hexy's here. Hey, Hexy.
Hexy, yeah, and Tweez is here. Yeah,
we got a copy of Guadalcanal, Conflict of Heroes.
Is that the third edition?
Yep, third edition.
Yeah, that's the up-to-date one. Yeah.
We got a copy of the solo expansion for Conflict of Heroes.
Very similar to the Lock and Load one, or the Lock and Load is very similar to that where they, I think, bought the rights from Academy Games.
Yeah, so he ended up giving me like 5 or 6 games to bring home, and he actually just
thank you, David.
He said he had some other games that he wanted to donate to the club. So I'm like, you know what? I think what I'm going to do, I was going to go back to Jester's Jeopardy, but I think what we're going to do now is I think we're going to have Jester's Junkyard, and we're going to give away and sell some things to people that want.
On the news that Jester's Jeopardy is not coming back, Lock and Load, my friends.
Yeah, Lock and Load. Although a lot of people in the chat love it. You don't, only because you sit in this chair or that chair. You wait, it's not fun.
You guys are so spoiled. You're so spoiled. You're like a bunch of old ladies. You just want everything your way, just to sit here and gabber, gabber, gabber.
Yeah, just saying to Robert, sorry you didn't get your Panzer fix. Tony couldn't make it yesterday, so but hopefully next week. So that's all. Sorry, just wanted to. Sorry.
This is absolutely true. I don't have a problem saying anything about anything online, but if we were sitting down in the gaming table at a game convention, I'm not the same way sitting down.
I think you should look at Hexy's comment here.
Yeah, he's not going through the hello, is he? But Hexy's saying basically that
yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I think
look at the guy's room. I mean, come on, he needs a maid. Good Lord.
Someone pointed it out. There's so many board games in there that it's obscuring the light.
That's what I think Tweez said that. I think Tweez said that. He said it's a bit dark. It must be all them games.
Yeah.
Blocking out the light.
Yes. And Patrick is retired as the Jeopardy GOAT. That is true. The number one of all time. 7 guesses. Patrick,
I didn't know what that meant. I thought that's not very nice, calling somebody who's the top of their tree a goat. Yeah, I thought no, stop.
GOAT, greatest of all time.
Yeah,
bro.
I know now. Yes, all right. Yeah, at the time.
Yes,
it's an Americanism.
Yes.
So I'm undefeated in Combat Commander. I'm undefeated against Cardboard Commander. I've got new games this week. I've got 2 other ones, but I'm not gonna show them up. Anyways, he emailed me and said he's got other games that he's willing to donate if we want to give them away. And I was like, I don't know. We're gonna see if somebody might be interested in them. Patrick,
I love your comment. You saw Lamont and Grady wander through there because in the green room, I mentioned that for Jester's Junkyard, he should play the theme song for Sanford and Son.
No, Steptoe and Son.
It's the yeah. And there you go. It's the big one. It's the big one. Coming to join you.
That's it. Yeah, it was a good week for me. I got some goodies. I got this little game from a little designer. You might have heard of him. This
Yeah,
guy.
what's his name again? Rupert Hartman or something.
Yeah,
He's a new designer, isn't he?
yeah, he's a newbie. He's
Yeah.
trying to get his foot in the door and just trying to be.
I'll tell you what, though, it's a cracking game. It's really hard. You will
I'm
yell at
looking
it.
forward to
You will
trying
yell
it. I
at
am.
that game.
Hey, Tony.
I'm looking forward to trying it. It looks like something
Not
I can
trying.
dominate and win. I mean, come on. I mean, it
So-
doesn't look that bad. So
let me ask-
You moaned at D-Day at Omaha Beach. You will moan just as much with, that one. You'll
you
shout.
think
at it.
so?
Oh, you think, oh, this is easy, and then you get onto the beach, you try and get up, and then it starts, and you have to push your luck to win.
Oh.
And if you don't push your luck often enough, you just won't get anywhere, and their reinforcements will keep coming on.
I'm all about pushing my luck.
It's great. It is great fun. So you'll enjoy it. I think.
I think it should be good. I've been wanting this game, and Viper Dave, 2 thumbs up. Great guy. I met him. He just very personable, very I was like, hey, do you want to get some pictures together so I can show No. You didn't want
the
to
private chappy.
All right. I won't take any pictures of you. So
fair enough.
he just wanted to remain anonymous. So
also, he would make you look so bad that you would be called all the name like Moose Monkey or the Swamp Monster. So I think that's why he's done that, because I've seen him. He's a handsome. I would dare say, a beautiful looking guy. So he would make you look a little bit bad. So I can understand it.
okay, thanks so much.
Okay, so Jester, I do have a question for you. So you had how many videos this past week? 21?
I believe I counted 21, yes.
Okay. So what was, of the 21 videos, what game did you play that you thought was the best this past week, and why?
Snap.
The best game was Combat Commander for sure.
Okay. All right. Well, we've heard Combat Commander.
Okay. The second best
Yeah.
was I actually played Lock and Load Tactical online for the first time in forever.
I saw that. Yes. What do you think of it?
I'm telling you what, I was like, man, I don't know if this is one of these games that's been sitting there, and I'm like, I don't want to know if I want to relearn the game and go in and try to learn all the rules again. So I put it off. Let me tell you, don't put it off. Lock and Load Tactical. I remember now why it was my number 1 war game at one point, not too long ago. It is a really, really good game, and it was coming back to me like this. I was
but
very,
also,
very
the rules are written into the thing, so you can't do anything wrong, and you don't play against yourself. You're playing against the AI. I mean, it might not be the best, but so you think it's okay, yeah?
I think it's great. I think it's awesome. I had a great
P4M
time, and I kept saying that over and over again. I was like, man, this is really good.
Which specific module did you play?
I played the North Africa.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I played the British again, Ruff.
Yes.
There you go. I'm on a British kick. I'm playing the Brits, and we're defending against the Italians. The Italians had to take 3 bunkers. Guess how many bunkers they got against me? Dominated. I am just on a roll. I'm dominating everyone and everything.
I mean, we with our hats, our big sort of hats on and our shorts, we can dominate the world. We look biz in those shorts, don't we?
Khaki shorts.
Those khaki shorts, and what do they call those hats? I can't remember.
I know what you're talking about, though.
Yeah, there's a.
So let me ask. Okay, I don't have any experience with Lock and Load Tactical. In fact, heaven forbid, I don't even have any Lock and Load Tactical game like any.
The word though. Cheers.
Right. No, it's terrible.
How do you call yourself a gamer and not have any?
Well,
I don't know.
Is there a start? I don't know if there's a starter pack for Lock and Load Tactical on Steam.
There is a starter pack.
I think it's a $5, isn't it? Or is it $9.99? I can't remember.
It's like $10 to get.
Yeah, $9.99.
Yeah, okay. You can get a starter. I think it's $14.99, but you can get it on sale for like $10.
Yeah. Well, there is Lock and Load Digital on Steam, so you
can. That's it. That's what I'm saying. You could buy the starter pack, or I think, and get going.
Right.
I don't. Me myself, I don't like Lock and Load very much. It's.
So let me ask, because I don't know, are these just in each module? Are these just individual scenarios that you can play, or is there something to string them together into a campaign?
No,
not really.
They're just random scenarios from random times,
and they sort of taken from actual sort of battles, maybe, or conflicts, but they lift out. They say this is because it might not be true because you're using squads and things. It's sort of set in that battle.
Sure.
So they lift it out, but it might not be actually accurate in names and places, and it's
sure. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So,
I can get
this kind of leads into our discussion today about randomness in games and dice rolling and rolling for everything time after time after time.
Well, before you do that, can I share a little bit of news for people?
Oh, you want to do that now? Sure. Yes, absolutely.
I have a little bit of news for something that was shared yesterday on the GMT newsletter. That is, I can zoom in here.
How do we? Oh, it's over here. I got it. Okay, because I'm like looking at the bottom of the screen. It's over here.
So, Mr. President is coming to Steam.
Coming to Steam.
It's going to be a PC port of the board game, and so it will run all of the AI of the game for you. And this is being produced right now. It says planned release is July 2025, and as soon as I saw that, I wish listed it because I'm going to get it as soon as it comes out. Mr. President was one of those games like I've mentioned before. I tried it, I bounced hard off of it, and then I came back later, and it clicked with me, and all of a sudden it was like, this is an amazing solitaire game, and so I'm excited to see that there on Steam because it takes a lot of table space. So if you want to play it on the computer, then you can. So yeah, that's just wanted to share that with everyone, kind of get the word out there for it.
And get it back quickly to Lock and Load. I know it's got its fans and it's old school tactical as hold on, where are we? Yeah, I think not Rob. Yeah. Rob was saying it's old school tactical for me, not Lock and Load. It's that sort of dichotomy of this thing, but I like it. And look, that's what a scenario looks like, and there's tons of them. Let me just show you. Here we are. There's all the scenarios. Oh. So you get a ton of scenarios, and I understand it's not your team. And that's
a great discussion going into what we're talking about today, because I think this is going to be good for Nate. Get some education on this. But before I do that, before we get into this, as Nate was explaining that Mr. President is coming to Steam, I've also got to share something that I saw today, which I think a lot of people will be interested in. And I'm going to be sharing my screen with this one. Is over on Board Game Arena now. They've got one of my newest favorite games of all time. A Jester Robin Hood is now available on Board Game Arena, so you can play that. 2-player campaigns, and it looks cool. It looks awesome, and yeah, I can't wait to try it over there in Board Game Arena. Jester Robin Hood is one of my favorite new games of all time, and there's some information about it. Blah blah blah. I don't know if you need. I'm assuming you need a premium account to play it. But last time I checked, like a premium account was like $30 or $35. It wasn't very much.
Okay.
So Jester Robin Hood is over on Board Game Arena. So I just thought I would
Cool.
share that since you had mentioned Mr. President.
Yeah, that's awesome. Actually, my buddy bought Jester Robin Hood recently. His first GMT game. Hopefully, first of many.
You're gaming guy, right?
Yep.
Oh, that is a great. You two should sit down and play that game for sure.
We might be discussing that.
Okay, because I think it mixes a great Euro blend of mechanics with wargaming mechanics, and I think both he would be happy. I think you would be happy with it, and
Oh, it looks great. It's a beautiful looking game too.
Because you've played it with Cardboard Commander, haven't you? So,
yeah, I played it with Cardboard Commander, dominated him, of course.
Oh, okay.
I was
Sorry, Cardboard Commander. Sorry, I meant just as a piece of information, not for him to blow his trumpet again.
I have to rub it in while I'm winning. Okay, that's it. I got to rub it in when I'm winning because when the tide turns, you know it always turns. Right?
Oh, he's gonna stand.
And here's the one thing: after
down.
the live stream, Cardboard Commander said one sentence to me, and the one sentence he said was, "I love it when Rough Swordsman and Nate make fun of when I lose because it inspires me to try harder next time." So I'm like, okay, all right, I will rub it in on Saturday because that'll inspire you to.
I think we're on his side. I think
so.
Hopefully that gives him inspiration to.
Because the question is, see, I know that Jester can dish it out, but I'm curious to know, can Jester take it?
Yeah. No, he can't. I can answer that one. He doesn't like losing. I know that one for a fact. All right.
The reason I win all the time is because I hate losing. Ask my daughter. My daughter is the worst sport ever because I never let her win. She never won anything. When growing up, she's 8 years old. I'm still dominating her.
He said, that's not what he said.
No, I think what he meant to say was he loves it when we stick up.
Oh, that is. I think that's what he said. He said he loves it when Nate. Let me see it. He said, I love it when Nate and Ruff talk about how bad I play and how good you play. And it'll inspire me to play harder next time.
No, I think it's how Ruff and Nate stick up for Cardboard Commander, inspiring him to pluck.
That's right.
The victory.
And here's the other one right here. I mean, Nerd Workshop. All you have to do to win against Nerd Workshop is give him a target. He spends all of his time trying to kill all your units, and you just give him a target.
Oh, so you go over here
in the field with the big yellow tank.
Over here.
He's like, shoot me.
Yeah.
We played 2 turns. He's still in the starting location. He hasn't moved a unit out of his starting location yet.
Ruff, we'll see what Jester says if we can ever get him to play Atlantic Chase with either of us.
He won't, because he can't win that one. He hasn't got his head around how it works.
Okay, here's the thing.
Yeah. Now we know why he doesn't like it, because he's losing all the time.
But I did play it once against
Tweez. Yeah.
Tweez, and who won?
I think he got. Well, he told me, and I shouldn't say this out loud, but he did tell me in confidence, and I'm sorry, Tweez, for breaking that confidence. He said, I got so fed up with him, I just thought, bloody hell, let's get this game over with and let him win. Yeah. He's getting on my nerves. He's getting on my nerves.
Bad card draws. I always get bad dice rolls. But the problem is I overcome my failures. That's the biggest thing. Yes, Jester beat you.
Only because you let him, Tweez. You're getting fed. You told me he said he's starting to annoy me.
I mean, that's part of playing, right? I think that's why I win against Cardboard Commander. I annoy him enough that he okay, I'm just gonna let him win. Jeez. I mean, that is part of the strategy.
Jester, I'm gonna challenge you to one of my operational games.
Oh,
zoomed out.
God view, yeah.
Yeah, not tactical. No,
not tactical. You need tactical. You need some tactical in your life.
He's trying.
I've got some. I've got
solo. Give him his due. Yeah.
What has he got?
I've got last 100 yards.
Have you played it?
Not yet. I have GTS.
Are you going to play it
someday?
Okay, you've had it for 6 months. You haven't played it.
It who knows? Jesus might come before I play it, but
I know.
I tell you what, we'll have to sort something out. Maybe with Mike Butter Jelly and that, and Tony. Maybe we can have a sort of, because I've played it a couple of times with Tony and Mike, and it's different. It's a good game. The other one I want to play, of course, is the one you're playing with Nerdy. Still waiting for my copy. I played it at PunchCon a couple of years ago. What a weird, different game that is, where you sort of auction what you're going to do and all that sort of thing. It's really good, really good. So,
which one is this?
Formations, fighting formations.
Oh,
where you have the table.
I was very enamored with fighting formations, and I was thinking, oh, this is kind of cool. This little matrix of each side has got a different matrix on what units they can do. Like the U.S. can like get different actions. The Germans might attack down here, but the U.S. might attack way up here, and you're getting different cubes. And but I realized quickly that you always, just about always want to take the lowest cube you can, because
you can use your points for a big thing, and that's
taking a big cube and giving your opponent several actions. I did that right off the bat, thinking I would be like outsmart the system, and I moved the cube like 7 spaces over in his side, and then he like did another action, did another action, did another action. He did like 4 actions in a row before I had a chance to do anything.
Because if I remember rightly, you've got an amount of points to spend, and you can either go for the big one or you can do little things, and that sort
of. There's cubes on each of the actions.
Yeah.
Based on like a random D10. Yeah. So I was thinking that matrix system would be pretty cool, because you can like.
Oh, Mike says we're going to play fighting formations, so we'll get that together. Yeah, I'll wait to get me copy, Mike, so I can have a look through it at least.
Cool.
Yeah,
I'd be interested in
game.
playing
It's just I thought that matrix thing was going to be a little more interesting, but you just about always want to take the lowest one you can.
The nitty gritty is, from what I understand, is a little bit more. Once you get it, once you know how to play the game, maybe.
All right, so let's talk a little bit for just a few minutes before we do our segments about like randomness, and I wanted to bring this up because I think it's a good example.
Yeah, so explain what you're trying to get across here.
Yeah.
Okay. So many games, as we all know, every time you got to roll the dice, it slows the game down because you're shaking the dice, you're looking up charts, you're looking at results and everything like that. So the more dice rolls you do, the longer the game's going to take. Lock and Load Tactical and several other games, ASL is guilty of this as well, and it seems like a lot of the tactical games is guilty of this, where as the attacker, you're rolling dice to get your result. And then your result is then going to the defender, and the defender has to do things. So in Lock and Load Tactical, what's going to happen is I'm going to roll a dice and add my attack power. You're going to roll your dice and add your defensive power. And then we're going to compare those two. And if my number is bigger than your number, then you're going to have to make a morale check. And so basically, to get one attack done in Lock and Load, you're doing 3 dice rolls. So as opposed to just rolling the dice and getting a result. You're rolling the dice, the defender's rolling the dice, and then if your attack is higher, you're rolling the dice again to find out what happens. Is that too much dice rolling to get one result?
Well, wait a minute. Before either Ruff and I respond, hold on. I need to roll to see which one of us can respond. Wait, it's Ruff's go. Okay, Ruff, you can talk.
No,
now.
I've got a re-roll.
Oh, sorry. Here we go. Yeah, you still won. Yeah.
Oh, damn it. True, but you've just upset all the ASL players by turning their game into a dice fest. I get what you're saying, but I don't know. We'll talk about this later, but I don't know how you're going to play any game without some sort of randomness, be it dice throwing, charts, tables. There are some that are more guilty than others, and we're going to talk about those. That there are some games you've got a spectrum, haven't you, of randomness. You've got ones that don't just die roll. I mean, ASL just got results and you look it up and see what happens. You've got ones with sort of random events going on, right up to the other extreme where the whole game is run by randomness, where the dice control the game. So there's lots of different ways of randomness. You've got to have some, otherwise it's just thought control, and that hasn't happened yet. No,
well, of course, there's always going to be some, but right, there's always going to be some randomness. Like, but how much is too much? Like, is it too much to like do an attack, have the defender roll, compare those two, roll again, find out the morale check, find out. I didn't even get into the fine details because on a morale check, if you're rolling to find out if you're broken or not, if you roll 1, you can create a hero, and you're going to have to roll the dice again to see if you get a random hero. So you might be rolling 4 or 5 times to get 1 attack done in this game.
Go on, Nate.
So I don't think that a game to say something such as, in order to have a war game or whatever, that we have to have dice roll. I don't think that is true. Now, obviously, different genre, but for instance, all Euro games generally don't have dice rolls in them at all. In fact, the game itself, the way that you're playing it's a strategy. You're strategizing on the different moves that you can do, and the randomness comes in that someone does something that you're not expecting, or some event happens or whatever in the game. So I'm thinking, like, for instance, a Euro that's kind of like a war game is Small World, where the Jester knows this game, where there is no dice roll in it. It is just a pure strategy, and you strategizing with depending on the people that little people that you put together. So to say that dice roll is necessary in a war game, I don't think is true. I've seen some war games that have eschewed dice rolling as much as possible, and I tend to now want to gravitate towards those, because some games that I've played have done what Jester mentions, that you're just chucking dice to check everything. And it creates randomness and different things happen, but it slows the game down, and it's
nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. No, I think we're. But the thing is, the fact that any move, like somebody, Mike, I think said, checkers or drafts, as we call it properly over this side of the pond, there's no randomness. Of course it is, because as soon as a person moves, that's his random move. You didn't know that he was going to do a random move. Chess is the same. I know there's set moves that you do in the beginning game, but every move is random. And even your Small World, the person that's moving bits around, that's random because it's not predetermined.
Sure.
So there's randomness in every game. And yes, I think I'm going to be on the sort of up here. I do like my random. I do like my dice chuckers as well.
Right.
So I think
do.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with you wanting to play less of that.
I think it comes down to in that it depends on what the game is, like what the game is. So what I mean by that is, if I'm playing, like, for instance, a big grand strategy game that I go into knowing that this is probably going to take me a good 50 to 100 hours to play the whole thing. All right. Like for instance, if I'm going to play World in Flames,
that's the game I was thinking of. Yes.
Yeah,
right.
That game can take a very long time. Okay. So the number of dice rolls, if there were, depending on the number of dice rolls in that game, then it would make sense, because it's going to be a long game. However, if I have a game that has a limited map, like an example would be Crossing the Line Aachen, the Crossing the Line series, where it's a limited battlefield space. But it feels like to me, just from, I haven't played it, so again, this is just an observation.
Again, it can be a long game, but yeah,
that it can be a longer than anticipated game because of the dice roll. The dice roll is extending the length of the game. I feel like, longer than it should.
See, I would agree, I would disagree because
that's kind of what we're getting at. Is I know there are games, operational level games out there that you got to roll for your supply. Each of your supply sources, you have to roll to find out how much supply they got this turn, how many, and then once you've got all of your supply sources out there, then you've got to roll to determine every one of your headquarters or your leader units have to roll to see whether or not they know how much they're going to use. And you're rolling on charts to see how much supplies they're going to use,
Right.
how many units are going to be in command. And then there's other games that take all that dice rolling and manipulation of things, and they just say, here's what you get every turn, boom, boom, boom. You get 3 supplies every turn to use, or you get, like if we talk about Normandy 44, right? Each of your ships get like 1 attack every turn. You don't have to roll for it.
How do you determine the result of that attack?
It's going to shift the odds.
It's a dice roll.
Yeah.
Right.
It's going to shift from one column to the next column.
It's like, say, I mean, even like Stuka said, it's a great thing when you're playing. It says nothing is random because of CDG, for instance. It's not random because you play that card, but your opponent, from your opponent's point of view, it's a random thing because what you're doing is random to the opponent because you don't know what that other chap is or chapess is going to play. So there's still randomness, isn't there? Or am I missing the point here?
Well, I mean, randomness, I think I guess it depends on what are you meaning by randomness. Like obviously player decisions is going to just affect the game. Like that doesn't require any dice roll or anything like that.
No, but it's still random.
Sure, I guess.
But the other person, the person playing the card knows what he wants to do. That's not random. He's got an idea in mind, or she has got an idea, or they have got an idea in mind. Mustn't upset. I'll get emails. But the other person doesn't know that. So that's a random, like, oh, blimey, where did that come from?
I mean,
I know. Thank you. Smash that like button for this poor old thing here.
Man, I tell you, it's so hard to find good help around here.
I think it just like I apologize. I'm kind of wrapping my thoughts as I'm talking out loud and processing things. That it seems to me that, again, that depending on the game, it feels like that the number of dice rolls, random events, whatever you want to call it, randomness that happens in the game.
Play, everything.
Yeah. That I think it really comes down to that when, like, how does that affect the experience and flow of the game? So if the dice roll does not impede the play of the game, then I think it's fine. But if I'm having to do as a player, if I'm wanting to fight like units come together and they fight, and then I have to roll, I have to find out, like, for instance, I have to calculate the odds. Some games actually will force you to calculate the odds and then put them on a percentile chart, which is even more. So now I have to use a calculator to see what's the percentage, and then times it by 100 to put it on the chart. And then I have to figure out, I have to roll some dice to see whether or not, like, do I get any modifiers? Like, am I allowed to use this or not? And then I roll for the combat. Okay, now I got my result. Now I have to roll to see if they, like Jester mentioned earlier, they break or not. Okay, so the length of time to do one combat in a game that may have several of it feels like that it would impede the flow of the game, and it's less fun. Because sure, it may simulate history, but remember that
I get that. Yes, yeah,
right.
And Mike, that's Mike. That's your opinion. Yeah, I think things are random all the time. If you play a card, it's random to the other person because he didn't know what's coming. He's got to react to it out the blue. So random is random, in my opinion. Your opinion's just as valid. But yes, those sort of games would drive me mad. If I'm playing against somebody.
I I agree, forlorn. Yeah, stuff like that. I think it is just bad. I think it's poor design. Like
Yeah.
it
I
it
think
artificially
what we're
lengthens.
going to do here is we're going to go back and we're going to take a break from this
It's
subject.
another emotive
Because
subject.
I think people are missing. It's a good discussion, so I'm not going to interrupt the discussion. I'm not.
But it's
going
not what you wanted to
I
talk
think
about.
people are missing the point of. We all know there's randomness one way or the other, blah blah blah, and whatever I choose to do is going to make the game different because of the decisions I make. I understand all that. We all understand that. What I'm talking about specifically is when is the random dice rolling? Is it too much? Again, if I could get a result by just rolling one dice, great. But if I have to roll 6 dice to get the same result, is that too much? Or is it make it more interesting? Because, like, let me give you an example, right? If I just add up my attack value and I roll the dice and it tells me what the result is, boom, and it's done and over with, right? It's fast, it's quick, it's simple, and everyone's done, right? But you don't get the interaction knowing what happened because you're only rolling one set of dice, as opposed to I'm rolling my attack, you're rolling your defense. Now we compare those two results. Now you got to determine whether or not you break or not break. So you feel more of the game because you're seeing what happens with the units and you're seeing what happens with the dice rolls. Does that kind of make
I
some
get
sense?
there is a sort of balance between the dice randomness of the dice to determine a more accurate outcome, and does that slow the game down? Like, yes, that would make sense if you're rolling to see if you hit. Now you see how you've hit. Have you broken? I mean, Panzer's guilty of that.
Yeah.
And,
Right. But
and
I mean, let's look at Panzer. Like if Tony took his tank and shot you in one roll, boom, your tank blows up.
that
or
would
boom,
be
your tank is
boring.
fine.
That would be
It
boring.
wouldn't feel as good, right?
No.
It just wouldn't feel as good because you would feel like you need more to know why is my tank.
Yeah.
Why did my tank blow up?
He rolled a 10 and he destroyed me. Yeah, that's
Right.
no,
Why didn't I get a chance to resist that? That's just not fair to me, right?
yeah.
So sometimes more dice rolls is better because it allows you to feel more of the game. But we'll get more of this discussion later. I just wanted to kind of introduce it because we were talking about
You opened up a hornet's nest.
Yes, and we like to do
We
that. I
did.
like to not rub people wrong. I like to make people get, oh no, that's what I love. It's different opinions. Nobody's right. Everybody has their opinions, and it's valid for them, and that's good, and that's how it should be.
Very British.
Right. Everyone has got to just a different
Yes.
I
Otherwise,
see
it would be bloody
what
boring.
Nate's saying, right? Because Nate's absolutely correct. I play Marvel Champions. It's one of my favorite games, and there's no dice rolling in that whatsoever. It's all deterministic. I can play a card. That card does 2 damage to the enemy. There's no randomness in this other than what cards I get in my hand, what cards I play. That is the randomness part of it. So there are other games out there that don't have dice rolls, but they're still random. I think is what Ruff was saying, right?
Yeah. I mean, things like Legendary Encounters, that doesn't use dice. You just got your cards, and that there's no.
Well,
it depends on the cards.
I think part of it comes down to, and this is the same thing that I've experienced even playing like historical, like computer games last, several years, in that people talk about, and I applaud people wanting to be as historically accurate in their games and all of the mechanics to serve that history. And obviously, as a historian, I'm on board for that. However, sometimes it gets lost in that this is a game that should be fun. And if I'm rolling, however many times that may simulate something accurately, but it's not fun, then it's not actually serving a purpose.
But it might be fun for somebody else.
It might be fun. It might cause your game to get sold only to like maybe this amount of people as opposed to a larger group of people.
Yep. No, agree.
So sometimes there's not just one way to show randomness in a game. Sometimes there are some interesting games that create fun ways of introducing randomness in without impeding the flow of the game. But anyway, I'll shut up until Jester says we can keep going.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, but that's what makes these subjects fun.
It's interesting because I've ran through the gambit this week. I played the Hunters as well this week, and as we all know, it is a very random game as well.
That's up that end, isn't it? And
it's a very random game, and there's a lot of dice rolling. You're rolling to find out what kind of ship, what time of day. You have no control over anything. You have pretty much zero control over.
What they say is the dice control the game.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple decisions how many torpedoes you're going to target on each of the ships and all that, but and that's fine. I'm talking about randomness in like dice rolls. How much is too much? Like if in the Hunters and I shot a torpedo, then I had to roll for a dud, which we all, that's just the way it is in early war. But let's say I had to roll for the torpedo, then I had to roll to see how fast it was going. Then I had to roll for its penetration. Then I had to roll for how much damage it did. And then I had to roll to find out where it hit. I mean, with that, in that case, for me, it would take the fun out of the game because I was rolling so much.
And that's where I think not to go on about Wolfpack, but I thought Wolfpack did a brilliant job on, instead of every time you do shoot a torpedo, instead of rolling on a table to see, did I hit the ship? Was it a dud or not? And then what kind of damage? You pull a card. And it made it where the flow of the game kept moving, but it was exciting. It was exciting to pull that card. I remember even when we played, when you click that button and the card appears. Oh, I got it! I hit it, and okay, now did it sink or did I get damage? And oh, it sank! Yay, I got it! And it was much more. It felt more exciting than. Let me grab my player aid and okay, let me roll. Oh, okay, I got it. So it just, I don't know. It seemed like it went on better than others.
All right. Well, we'll finish this discussion or we'll continue it later. But let's take a break, everyone. Take a deep breath.
Deep breath. Calm down.
Got everyone all riled up talking about how I always win, and then everyone's like pulled out their knives. Yep. Okay, we're going to war. Let's go. So,
Commander, you better win next time. All right, win. All right.
I mean, I'm undefeated. Like Combat Commander is my game now. I think I should just retire with the crown. I mean, let's just say
this is why people got upset. Just remember the old phrase, though: "Sticks and stones may break my bones, but cannons will always blow you away."
Yeah. Or in my case, tanks.
Are cards a faster game mechanic than dice? They can be. They can be. That's a great discussion, maybe for a different time, Camp Sawyer, because I know I play a lot of sports games, right? And a lot of the sports games have fast action decks, and you flip up the cards. And let me tell you, flipping up a card, I can go through like 5 or 6 cards. By the time you get your dice, roll them, and look at your chart, I can flip 5 or 6 cards way faster than you can do that.
Yeah, like Stuka said, rolling dice eats up time.
Yeah, and that's kind of the one biggest downside to lots of dice rolling. Like you can be playing ASL with like 6 units on one side and 6 units on the other side, which is a very small scenario. You can be playing there for 2 or 3 hours because you're rolling dice rolls for every single solitary thing. Not that that's a bad game, but again, more dice rolls mean more about what's going on in the game because it gives you more reactions of what happens in the game.
Well, we are over an hour, so do you want to do our segments?
Absolutely. Let's go ahead Nate.
Okay, so
you want to start? Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay, so for Nate's notes, and I don't know if you want to move the chat so people can see the book that I'm going to show a little bit.
Yes, let me do that. That's a great suggestion.
So my book today.
Or just no, that's it. Just have
I'm
him.
working
Just
on
have
it.
Nate.
Give me a second.
So Nordic asked me a while ago if I had recommendations for the 7 Years' War and the American Revolution. So one of them I had shown, The Sinews of Power book on this Britain in the 7 Years' War, why Britain won, I should say. And now book 4, recommendation for the American Revolution. This is the first in a trilogy. The second is out, I think. Rick Atkinson, The British Are Coming. He also did the World War II trilogy. People might remember him. So if you are interested, I mean, it's a good thick book. But if you are interested in the American Revolution, then this is a book to get. Plus, Wargaming news. This was just released like earlier today. I'll share my screen that here on YouTube. That let's see if I can get it. Yeah, there we go.
That Gilbert, yeah.
Gilbert Collins, another YouTuber, posted a video earlier today on a new war game that he, I guess, is helping someone create an American Revolution war game called British Marches of the American Revolution. This one has to do with the 1777 British March on Philadelphia. And apparently, from watching the video, it seems that this is an attempt to create something like an operational GCACW for the American Revolution.
Oh, crikey.
Which seemed really interesting. So I wanted to kind of shout out this video and that designer, and because apparently I guess they're looking for a publisher. So I wanted to put the word out there and see if what happens, because this, at least from what I could see in the 32 minutes in the video, it seemed like there was a lot of good in that game. The map already looks good in a playtest map of Pennsylvania. And so there's a lot of movement and things like that in the game. So, yeah. Rick Atkinson, The British Are Coming book. And then I wanted to shout out this American Revolution game coming up.
Excellent.
Nice.
That's me.
All righty. Next up.
Before I go on, if you watch that little video I mentioned at the beginning, they've actually uncovered some dice that from Roman times, because the Romans did like dice games, evidently.
Oh yeah.
And they found a D20. So they were playing Dungeons and Dragons 2,000 years ago, so something to think about. Right. What have we got here? 22nd of Feb. 17. Sorry, what?
I'm sorry. I put a period in there and I shouldn't have. It's just HTTPS YouTube / My bad. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's an interesting little video, and the guy knows, like you, Nate, he's another sort of, nutter on Roman stuff. So yeah, it's good to watch. 1744, War of the Austrian Succession. The Battle of Toulon causes several Royal Navy.
Ooh, you pronounced it right.
I could normally French and maybe German. It's only other things maybe. Anyway, like
Americanisms.
Michigan, yeah, that's
Michigan. That's right.
Michigan. So anyway, the War of Austrian Succession, the Battle of Toulon, causes several Royal Navy captains to be court-martialed and the Articles of War to be amended. So I found this quite interesting. This War of the Austrian Succession was a European conflict fought between 1740 and 1748, primarily in Central Europe, the Austrian Netherlands, Italy, the Atlantic Ocean, and Mediterranean Sea. One of the related conflicts was King George's War in North America, which was the third of the 4 French and Indian Wars. So this Battle of Toulon took place on the 21st, 22nd of February, 1744, near the French Mediterranean port of Toulon. Although France was not yet at war with Britain, makes a change, ships from their Levant fleet supported an attempt by the Spanish force trapped in Toulon to break through the British Mediterranean fleet. So the initial engagement was yesterday on the 21st. It was indecisive. And the British continued their pursuit until midday on the 22nd before their commander, Admiral Thomas Matthews, called off the chase. With several of his ships in need of repair, he withdrew to Minorca, which meant that the British Royal Navy temporarily lost control of the waters around Italy and allowed these Spanish ships that were stuck in Toulon to take their offensive against Savoy. In his report, Matthew blamed his subordinate, Richard Lestock, for the failure to secure victory, and the issue was hotly debated in Parliament. At the subsequent court-martial, Matthews was held responsible and dismissed from the Navy in June 1747, while Lestock's political connections, meant he was cleared of all charges. Another 7 captains were removed from command for failing to engage the enemy, and the investigation led to changes that required individual captains to be far more aggressive. And from what I can gather, this caused uproar with the public at the time, saying this isn't right. But yeah, it's an interesting little thing there, which I'm glad I found. 1770, British custom officer Ebenezer Richardson fires blindly into a crowd during a protest in North End, Boston, fatally wounding 11-year-old Christopher Sider, the first American fatality of the American Revolution, allegedly. 1797, over 1,000, well, there's a bit more, French troops attempted to invade Britain and landed at Fishguard in Wales, but were soon captured by the brave ladies of the town. No other foreign force has managed to invade mainland Britain since, God bless her. The Battle of Fishguard was a military invasion of Great Britain by revolutionary France during the War of the First Coalition. The brief campaign on the 22nd to the 24th of February 1797 is the most recent landing on British soil by a hostile foreign force, and thus is referred to as the last invasion of mainland Britain. The Wales-bound invasion force consisted of 1,400 troops from La Légion Noire, a partly penal battalion under the command of Irish-American Colonel William Tate, called the Légion Noire, the Black Legion, due to their using captured British uniforms dyed very dark brown or black. And this is where the sort of folklore comes in. A legendary heroine, Jemima Nicholas, is reported to have tricked the French invaders into surrender by telling local women to dress in the cloaks and high black steeple-crowned hats of soldiers. The British commander marshaled them into an approximation of military formation, and they marched up and down the hill until dusk, making the French commander think his soldiers were outnumbered. Nicholas is also said to have single-handedly captured 12 French soldiers and escorted them to town, where she locked them inside St. Mary's Church. Only in Britain, God bless her. 1847, the Mexican-American War, the Battle of Buena Vista. 5,000 American troops defeat 15,000 Mexican troops. Goodness gracious. And in 1915, World War I, of course, German instituted unrestricted submarine warfare. The gloves were off. And then whizzing forward to World War II, 1942, President Franklin D. Roosevelt orders General Douglas MacArthur out of the Philippines as the Japanese victory becomes inevitable, and hence the Arnie Schwarzenegger sort of paraphrasing thing, "I'll be back." I think he said, "I shall return." Is that where he said that?
I believe so.
I shall return, yeah. And last one, 1967, 845 paratroopers of the 173rd Airborne Brigade take part in Operation Junction City, the only paratrooper assault of the Vietnam War. No airplanes, sorry. Only crashes. I don't want to put crashes up, no.
Well,
Nice.
I will say that if anyone ever is able to get to Norfolk, Virginia, there is the MacArthur museum and memorial where him and his wife are buried. But there's a museum about Douglas MacArthur, and you can see like his famous hat and cornpipe.
Yeah.
And when I was in grad school, we got to go, and it was really neat because we got to get a private tour.
Did you guys take a field trip there?
We did take a field trip there. Yes.
Is that what the schools do? Yeah.
That's right. We took a field trip.
Wonderful.
And even as a master's student at the time, yeah, we did a field trip, but it was neat because we got a private tour by the curator. So it was just us in the museum, and he was an interesting fella, but it was cool. We got to see his personal library and all the books that he still had. He said, the curator said, "I'd love to take you back here in the archives, but I can't because there's still classified stuff back here. I'm not allowed to show you."
like most generals and commanders of troops, they were different people. They were they had a certain thing.
It was very neat at the museum. Like they had a copy of the surrender document that MacArthur had presided over.
Thing. When he said, "I shall return," and by goodness, he did return, and he didn't. He kept on his promise, so that was cool. That was cool.
All righty. I guess it's my turn. So, as most of you know, we've run out of our top 500.
Is it a block game? Is it a block game? No. Oh, not doing that. Sorry.
Wow.
So
I was debating about what I wanted to do, and with Viper Dave donating a bunch of stuff to the club so that we can sell it to don't give it away as gifts and prizes and stuff. I thought, well, maybe what I'll do is have like a little auction for you guys to bid on some of the stuff that we have available. And if you want to do that, then we can do that.
Yep, free shipping to UK and Europe.
That's right.
No, there isn't. I'm sorry.
How about this? We'll trade you some. Since we talk about it, we'll trade you some dice, and then we'll get a game in return. How about that?
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm hoping to get some more stuff from Viper Day, but in the meantime, I've got a few things that I'm willing to sell to the club. So anything you bid on is going towards us so we can ship out games. This isn't going into my personal fund or anything like that. This is just so we can ship out games and give you guys lots of rewards at the end of the year. We shipped out, how many games did we ship out this year? I think we shipped out I shipped out 3 or 4 myself.
I don't know if Michael's got his new Cold War yet. I don't think it's out yet. I've got my copy because it was a pre-thing.
Yeah, I still got a couple copies of Warfrats games coming.
And what I don't want is because somebody got a little bit like, "Oh, crikey, it cost me a fault," and I apologise. It's nothing I can do. That if we can get a bit of money in, so they don't have to pay that sort of nonsense, then that'd be wonderful. Yeah.
We're gonna be doing a little auction, a little silent auction. You guys can bid on these things. Email me. I will put my email in the chat here somewhere. Let me do that.
By the way, Sean in the chat points out something interesting. Did MacArthur roll to see if he could return?
No, he said, "Sod them dice." He said, "I'm returning. I don't know when, but I'll be back. I'll be back." And by goodness, thank goodness he was.
All right. idjesterlive@gmail.com. You guys will see that coming across the screen. Very simple, easy email address. You should be able to know this one by now. You have till next show. At next show, we'll announce the winners from this week, and then going forward, we'll announce the ones that won every week up to then. So if you're catching this later, you still have a chance to bid. It'll go to obviously the highest bidder. You will have to pay for the shipping yourself. So anything you're donating or bidding, take into consideration, you're going to have to pay anywhere between $15, $20 for shipping, depending on where you are in the world. So anyway.
Or Christoph, if you win a game from VUCA from me, there's no postage at all. Because
where can people see? Are you going to post the list to like the TACUP group?
I'm doing it right now.
Oh, you're
I'm
doing it
showing
right now.
you the game. Yeah, we're only gonna have like 3 a week, yeah, so it's not like
Okay.
a whole bunch of stuff. We're just gonna have 3. So the first thing, again, this is donated by Viper Dave. I forgot to show you guys this earlier. Maybe I did show it to you. This is a magazine from the General from 19.
Look at that on the front cover. You
Look
want to
at
win? Look at that.
that. It's a
Spit.
British plane. So
A
there you
spit.
go.
It's not a. It's a spit.
London's Burning and a series of replays of Hannibal, Rome versus Carthage.
Also, it's an old. Is that how old?
It's got some
what year
ASL
is that?
scenarios in here, actually.
What year is that, Mag? What year is it?
This magazine was, I think, 1996.
Yes, I say, yeah, London's Burning. Yeah. Cool.
I think it was 1996 is what I saw. So this is General Volume 31, number 2. I don't know if that helps anyone. I don't know anything about it other than it's an old game, book game. So if you're interested in this, again, this is the General. Email me how much you want to purchase it for. Again, whatever you bid will go towards the club so we can ship things out. This isn't like, good stuff for me. Unfortunately, I still need good stuff for me. All
Yeah,
right.
so thank you, Viper
Next
Dave.
up, Next up, we're going to give away
Oh!
a copy of Phantom Leaner. This is a game by DVG Games. I think this is the first edition. I think they re-released this with the second edition.
Yeah.
But this is the first edition. I'll show you the wonderful contents are well taken care of there. In fact, no, I was going to say the sleeves the cards might be sleeved, but they're not. I think I took the sleeves off. So this is one of these games I got thinking when I was going to play
Hold
it.
up, we've got a question. It's a valid question.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm on the wrong thing.
No. Is there a minimum bid?
No minimum bid. You can
Right,
put
there
$1
you go. You
down.
might get
You can put
50p.
50 cents down. You can put 10 cents down. But again, whatever you're bidding is to donate to us so we can ship out stuff. We can purchase lighting. We can purchase things to give away, whatever. So Phantom Leader, you can bid on this one. Just email me how much you want to bid on it. Highest bid gets it. So if you probably bid $100, you'll probably win it. I'm just saying.
Thanks, Christoph.
Has it been a year?
Today is my 1 year.
It feels like 5 years.
That's right.
It's been a drag.
Congratulations, Nate. You made it a year.
I did.
Yeah.
I'm off probation.
You're off probation. That's right. So Phantom Leader, we got the General, and we got one more game.
Look at them legs. Look at them legs. Put them away.
He's got so many games, you can't find it.
No. Get up, you lazy so-and-so. What's he got there?
This
What's
is a
he
big
got there?
boy. This is a big boy one here. Lock and load, everyone.
Oh, cheers.
Lock and load, everyone.
Oh, cheers.
This is Space Infantry Resurgence. This does have the expansion with it.
Oh.
So the very hard to find and excellent expansion. So you got all your
Thanks,
stuff
everybody.
there.
Yeah,
You have
see?
your
All loved,
Resurgence.
and there's
I'm
nothing
trying
you
to
can do
remember the
about it,
name.
mate.
I love them all too.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is so you can see how much stuff you get. I'm not going to take everything out of there, but it does come with the expansion as well.
I do think there is a decent question for
From
mentioned
Forlorn, yes.
about
Yeah.
the bid should be made in dollars as opposed
Well,
to
that is the world currency standard now, isn't
Yeah,
it?
that's a good
It
point.
used to be-
Whatever
it
you
used
bid
to be
will
the
be in
British pound,
US
but not
dollars. Yes. So if
Yeah,
you
there
want to,
one. Yeah.
I don't care where you're at. If you're across the pond or whatever, and you want to pay for the shipping, that's fine. But I
Because
won't
you can
ship
just
out-
get a currency converter and think how much you want to pay. You can put it in, get the currency converted to dollars, and then
There's one on Google.
yeah.
Yeah. So this is a monster. This is a very heavy game. Very heavy game.
Can't use your Roman denarii.
Or your
So-
groats.
This is a very heavy game. With you can see I can't even get the box closed with all the
Or-
expansions and everything in there. So this is a very, very heavy game.
Or Ruff would remember, put your crowns away.
Half crowns. Yeah.
Half crown.
Next week we'll announce who.
I remember farthing.
Yeah, I was about to mention that.
We will mention next week who won the highest bid, and congratulations to everyone out there that's willing to help out the club.
So it's a silent auction, so you don't know what anybody else has bid. So you're going to try and think what they're going to pay for that and try and outbid it if you want it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Silent auction. And you have till the start of next week.
The
show starts, it's over. Yeah.
I'll book my holiday now. And
I was going to look and see if there's any information about the expansion in here, but I'm not going to tear it all apart.
He doesn't say those two yahoos anymore, does he?
No, he doesn't.
No.
So that's Jester's Junkyard for this week. Next week we'll have 3 more games or a couple games until they're all gone. You can see I've got quite a few stuff here that's willing to donate to the club. So thanks everyone for your support. We appreciate it. Thanks so much.
We need to get you a light so we can actually, see you.
Me?
Yeah, we need to get you a light.
I like being dark and shadowy.
It's that mysteriousness he likes to.
Keeps me mysterious. And then they can't see my eyes, so they don't know when I'm lying or when I'm telling the truth. That's why I win all the time. That's why I win. I don't know if I mentioned this, but I win all the time.
Oh, I hadn't heard that.
Maybe you should call us the two yahoos, Nate. Christoph was saying.
Maybe, or at least that one.
All righty. Also an announcement. I won't be here in 2 weeks. Next week's show will be on Rose channel.
Mm-hmm. Unless you want to do it next week and I'll do it the week after, or I'll do it twice. I don't mind. Just let me know.
Yeah, it'll be the next couple will be on Ruff's channel, I guess.
Okay,
right. He's going to hog them all to himself. There you go. He doesn't like it when I put up the little pictures of his planes.
I do actually. I think that's funny. I do think that's hilarious. Gets a bit sort of tired, but yes, it was. It's it's funny. Yeah, it's funny.
Just wait until he's got to run the show next week, boys. Let's get him. Can't wait. Puts him under the pressure.
Well, like last week. Went fine, didn't it, Nate? Went fine last week.
You were on StreamYard last week.
I might be on StreamYard next week. I quite like StreamYard. I don't care. I know where I am. It's the devil I know.
Nerd mentions what I almost said, but didn't. But
what's that?
It did cross my mind, we can't see Jester's eyes because we don't know whether or not he's lying or telling the truth. And I'm like,
we can't see his face. Body language.
Like I was thinking it.
All right. Well, let's get back into the subject since we got about 35 minutes left on the show this week. Subject again is let's try and stay focused. We're talking about how much randomness, dice rolls, card draws, whatever. How much is too much? Like is there's always got to be some. We've talked about that. We know there's got to be some. There's got to be some randomness in the game. Otherwise, you're just playing, the game is just playing itself if it's not random. So how much is too much?
We've talked about the games that over here, like the Hunters, like Target for Today, that are purely run on tables, on random tables. We're not talking about those. If you want to play those, and I love them, you love them, but that's how the game works. Yeah, that's got to work that way.
I guess my question is, because I don't understand, why do you like a game where you have little agency?
Because you can lose yourself in the theater of the mind.
Yeah, because it's about having the game tell a story.
Yeah.
It's like watching a movie. Like,
yeah.
Oh, I'm watching a movie. Like,
and I know you don't have
Hunters this week, and I just chose a random boat, U-102, and I looked it up on the internet, and U-102 went out on one patrol, and it got sank. Everyone died on the ship. And we were like, oh, that's bad ship to choose. our boat went out on his first patrol. We sank 2 ships and we survived. So I've got a story to tell about my ship now.
You've changed the history of U-102, and when you play it, yes, you are in the control of the dice and the tables, but you're just along for the ride. I know it's on rails, but if you're in that sort of mood, and I love them, and the story, and if you're videoing them, it's great because you can tell a story as you're playing the game, even though you're controlled by the dice and the tables. What happens? It brings the story, and you can tell the viewers the story, and it's wonderful. My hunters, a story was told, and it was wonderful, and you believe it, and you get upset when a thing sinks, and So that's why we love them.
I'm like. Camp Story asked me, have I played role-playing games? Oh yeah, I'm playing one, in fact, on the computer right now, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I love that game. It's a great RPG. But
that's different, isn't it?
It's different, but the thing that I love storytelling in games, and I love that games that create narrative, but I wouldn't call something that is on rails and you have little to no agency a game. Because it's not really a game. It's just, I don't know, a book. There's nothing to game in there. Like a game is the idea of a game is that you have agency and you are playing something for, whatever, for some victory condition. But if I don't get a choice in what I want to do, then I wouldn't classify it as a game. I mean,
but what are you trying to do in your role-playing game?
Well, in the role-playing game, you make hundreds of decisions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what are you trying to do though?
Create a story.
What's your goal?
I mean, sure, you're
creating king, like to win. What's your goal? Like, I see your point, and I'm not arguing with your point. I'm just saying.
No, I see it. Yeah,
I see what your point is, but for to take the hunters or target for today, your goal is to survive to the next mission.
Sure.
Which is what the bomber pilots did back in World War II. Like they only expected to live through like 8 to 10 missions. Like,
and then when you get that roll, when you're on the surface and you get that aircraft and it's alarm, and you think, oh my God, I've got a roll. Come on, let's hope we can dive in time. Yeah, it's on rail. I get what you're saying, Nate, and it's not for you. It's not for a lot of people. It's not.
It's something
remember this is up this end of the randomness.
Right. Yeah.
So you know what you're doing when you're playing them.
It's one of those. I've tried games like that where you're rolling to see what happened. You're creating that experience or whatever, and I get partway through it and I'm just bored. I'm bored half to death.
And I get it. I get that. But it's when you play the sort of higher up games and you go, oh, that brigade's gone, or that company, oh, that army's gone. And you go, oh, well, whereas you're playing, Schmidt's got injured. What's going on?
Right,
so
right.
It's different.
I mean, you don't play tactical, or you don't play smaller scope games like tactical games. You need to play more where you get more involved with your units, your counters. You find out that one counter is like a super counter, rough. And I know he played Panzer Grenadier once, and his kept trying to bomb this one unit, and it never broke the whole time. Everyone else is breaking, and that one unit never broke.
I mean, that can happen in operational games too. I mean, like an example would be in GCACW, that's mostly division based. There's a commander, there's a general, and especially if you're playing, like, for instance, Roads to Gettysburg, and say, lots of things can happen differently in that game. And where I saw one session that someone had played where the Confederates got to the Gettysburg first and were able to get on Little Round Top and Big Round Top and all the southern end of Gettysburg before the Union got there. And there's all these divisions sitting on the heights outside of Gettysburg, which that was cool. That was a neat little story element that's in there. So I wouldn't say that just because it's not tactical that therefore you don't have a connection to what's going on. I think it just comes down to when you get something that is like the hunters or whatever. And that's just the most obvious example I'm thinking of, is that when and Stuka mentioned, put in a comment, I totally agree with it, that if the decision is obvious to make on what to do next, then I don't see where the sort of fun is in there. I mean, I understand if people like it, that's fine. But for me, and I guess I don't get it. I don't get it. And
I don't understand it. It's
I
like,
doubt I ever will.
The thing you want to do may be obvious, and you think, crikey, I've got to dive because I've hit that ship, and now the convoys are coming after me, the destroyers are coming after me. I know what I've got to do. I've got to get the heck out of Dodge. Whether or not I can do it is part of the storytelling. And if you don't throw right on that table, you don't make it, or you make it and you go, thank goodness I threw a 10, or whatever.
Sure.
I get that it's not for everyone. I get it. I mean, Tweezer's the same. He doesn't like these sort of games. I understand that. I don't play them all the time, but when I do, I'm going, right, let's go for a story. I'm going to get my crew. I'm going to name them all. And it's like Target for Today. You name all your crew. You name your plane, and certain people get injured. And that's just, it's a story. Yeah, it is a narrative. It is a story. It's still a game, in my opinion. And I get it. It's not for you. I get it.
Let's talk about another situation. Like, I played Combat Commander this week. And this is why I brought this up earlier, is because in Combat Commander, I can do an attack roll, right? So I can do an attack roll. And when I do my attack roll, I might get a random event or a sniper event or something like that. Then every one of your units have to make a defensive roll, and they can get an event and a sniper event. And so let's say you got a leader and 2 squads in there. I've got a unit shooting, and we might be pulling somewhere in the neighborhood of like 10 to 12 cards for that one attack, because whether or not every time you flip up a card, there might be a random event that happens. You might get a sniper attack. You might get something that happens. So you're doing an attack, but it's like boom, 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 and you're going through this one attack. And sometimes you're attacking multiple different things with different units during the same action. You might be there for like 5 minutes doing just one attack. And I know that drives some people crazy, and they hate Combat Commander for that. It's like, oh my God, like every time I flip up a card, it might be a random event. So that's what I'm talking about is,
if you got the 2 people playing it that are into it, and they go, oh, I've got a random event, and then you go, yeah, this is, what have we got? That adds to it. If you're not into that sort of thing,
right.
And Panzer's the same. When you play the advanced rules, there's a lot of, you're going to you go for a tank. And first of all, you've got to see if you hit the thing. And then if you hit it, you've got to see if that shell has actually penetrated the tank. And then there's
like a random.
Then you got an optional penetration rule to see
random penetration.
Get out of jail card for the person being shot at. And that might work or it might not. And then if it goes through, you've got to see where it hits, because you can't accurately fire on that tank. So you've got to see where it hits. And then you hit the track and you go, no, I didn't want to hit the track, because all it does is stop the tank. It can still fire at me. So me and Tony, and with Camp helping us out, have great fun with this sort of progression of die rolls. You might roll the first one and not hit, and that's it, done, not hit. But if it carries on, it even though you've hit the thing and you've penetrated it and you've got through the penetration variables, it might still be a rubbish hit, even though you've hit. And that's part of the fun, that you think, oh, I wanted to knock that tank out. No, it's still going to be able to fire at me when it's its turn to fire. So, yeah, Panzer for me. And I think, Gareth was playing it. It's too many dice rolls. And I get it. Mm-hmm. But it's horses for courses.
That's where my look through across the whole breadth of war games is that it seems that from the early days of wargaming up until I would say the last probably 15 years ago or so, that dice was seen as the main mechanism.
Dice was king, yeah,
to judge random things and to keep that randomness going. Now that was augmented by the CDG that was developed, that Mark Herman had developed, and then went to like Empire in the Sun and Combat Commander and Paths of Glory and things like that. So there was, you could offshoot that die roll mechanism onto a card, which makes the game, I think, move quicker. But dice still what reigned king as the main thing up until recently. And I'd say it's really taken off since in the last, say, 5 years, that a lot of designers have come through to see other mechanisms to create the randomness in the game. Like an example would be the Dark series by Ted Racer, that the entire mechanism of the game is chit pulls. And you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if you get a move order. Like, for instance, the Dark Summer. You don't know if you get a move order. You don't know if you get a fight order, a combat order. Is it the supply chit comes out? But that creates the randomness in the game, it creates a randomness of the flow of the game, but it doesn't impede the game. The game still moves very quickly.
Yep. No, I get that
very quickly. Whereas in some games, like I'm thinking games of like, say 20, 30 years ago, or whatever, that you're spending at least probably 10 or 15 minutes on just one combat.
No, that would wind me up.
The size of the game, I mean, that can go forever.
That would wind me up. But don't you think that operational games tend to be quicker? But as you come down the scale, you're looking at individual men or individual tanks or whatever. You've got to have that sort of specific randomness because you're fighting a tank or you're fighting a squad.
Well, let me answer your question by asking another question. Like, what is the mechanism that drives, for instance, Fields of Fire?
It's dice called cards.
Dice called cards? It's
card driven. It's used card, like Wolfpack, you use cards as dice.
Okay. And how many times in a turn is there a die roll? Like how
you may
often?
Have 3, 4, 5 different card turns. And you're going to have 3, 4, 5 different die rolls in Panzer. You can have 4, 5, 6, 7 card turns in Combat Commander, depending on what you turn over. So yeah, but that's enough. That happens in a few minutes. Well,
sure.
Some games where you have to do, like you said, it adds 10, 15 minutes to a game. No, thank you. No, thank you.
Yeah. Well, let me ask
I like the specificity of knowing where you've hit, what you've hit, how much damage you've done, and that's just a die roll. And that adds to for me, it adds to the fun of the game. If you're looking at the Panzer thing with me and Tony, we have great fun because we take the mickey. When he gets a bad roll, I laugh. When I get a bad roll, he laughs, and it's...
So let me ask this. In Combat Commander, excuse me.
I do that all the time. It drives me
I
crazy.
do. He should have picked a different name.
Cardboard Commander's name. He's going to be Cardboard Private, I think, from now on.
No, he's picked the wrong name there because we're just going to call the game and him the same thing. Yeah.
But for Combat Commander and Fields of Fire and any of the Panzer, how much opportunity is there for you as the player to mitigate those bad random things that can happen? Do you get choice?
By not making a silly move.
Yeah, you always get choice. You can always choose not to shoot. Yeah. Like a lot of times in Combat Commander, okay, if I attack, it's not probably going to do any damage, and he's going to get to flip his cards, and there's probably a better chance of him giving a random event, which is going to help him more than me hurting him. So I'm just not going to shoot him because it's just not worth it.
Yeah,
You always get choice.
and it's like with Panzer. I know I keep going on about Panzer, but that's the game where we're deep diving into, and it's like if I can get on that hill without him hitting me, I've got a great chance of overview of looking down and destroying his tanks.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so there's lots of choice.
Well, I'm asking because, like, for instance, I gave an example last week when we were talking about this, a game Armada, where there's this like strategic board and the Armada fleet's moving towards England and getting landing in Kent. And basically then there's like this tactical board where you can move ships around in combat and it's fun and everything, but it doesn't ever affect the strategic realm. So when the Armada makes it to the end, there's one die roll and whether or not the Spanish Armada gets to land troops or not. And so there's not a feeling that, well, what did I spend all these hours doing?
Yeah, that was the guy we mentioned earlier, the Canadian guy, who's doing the American Revolution stuff.
Oh, yeah, Gilbert.
Gilbert was that. I think if that's the game you're talking about, it's quite an old game. That's his big moan that you've done all these things, and on a die roll, you've lost.
Yep, that's where I'm thinking he did a video on
daft. It. That, in my opinion, that's daft.
Yeah, because there's
randomness. Lots of die rolls because you're building up, you're strategically moving or tactically moving whatever squads, tanks, and whether or not you've moved into a good position determines whether or not you've got a good chance of surviving and fighting back. But there's always that chance with the randomness that even though you're in a building and you're huddled down, some guy's going to fire a shell at you that just goes through that window and blows you up.
Sure.
And and that's I love.
Well, and I'm also thinking of something like, for instance, in Mr. President, where obviously Mr. President has a lot of dice rolls in it,
but a lot of decisions.
There's a lot of decision making, and you get to, as the player, you get to make the choices that create the circumstances in which the die rolls that you need can go well. And so you feel like that there's something that I have agency over into creating the circumstances that I need for
Is that by taking a chance?
Say that again?
Is that by taking a chance?
Yeah, I mean, like if I want to create better stability in a region, then there's certain actions that I can take in order to create the circumstances for when the die rolls come, they help me.
While you do those, you're exposed. There could be problems.
Sure. Yeah.
And it's the same with Panzer. With the Soviets, you've got to get up close. Yeah. The Germans can fire from a distance. So you take a chance and move up close and go, bang, I'm going to fire at you. I hope he doesn't hit me before I get a chance to fire. So there's always that sort of taking a chance, which I love. Do I take it? No, he's got, so.
Well, this is something where, like, I guess when it comes down to, the totality of randomness in games, me personally, I'm perfectly fine with randomness. I like randomness in games. It creates a different experience every time that I play the game, but I want to be able, as the player, to at least have some type of agency in what I'm doing. So if I'm creating a strategy and I want to execute on that strategy, I don't want one die roll to all of a sudden ruin hours and hours of setup and hours of trying to get, my units in the position. And then there's one die roll that comes in and ruins everything. Now, of course, it may be exciting, like, for the other player. Oh, hey, look, I won. I didn't get beat. But it's very demoralizing as a player because it sucks the fun out of it. I get
that. All I can say is don't play Hunters. Anyway, but those sort of games tend to be solo because they have to be on rails. And if you're playing that sort of game, and if you get sunk like we do, you throw a 13 and a 12 plus 1, 13, you're sunk. That's how it happens. But you're not playing against anybody, so you don't get that.
Right.
It's only you that try to do the best you can. But with things like, I keep mentioning Panzer and all that because it's a game I'm familiar with. That the consequences of your victory or defeat are due to your tactics plus randomness or luck, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
And that makes a good game for me. But yes, on a you've spent 3 hours trying to get up that hill, and then you throw a die and say no, you've been eliminated.
Yeah.
What's the point? What's the point?
Well, that's where I would rather be
think
beaten by another player than a table.
Yes, by somebody's better tactics.
Yes.
And even if they threw better, because they were positioned in a way that you did a silly thing, you went up an alleyway, or you exposed yourself, and you forgot this thing was here, and he fired at you with opportunity fire, and
right.
You took a chance and you lost.
Sean mentions something interesting. Is the die roll on Steam or Vassal a proper random? I mean, computers, it's not. There is.
Oh God, no! Me and Vassal dice, don't get me started.
I think it's interesting because a lot of people, a lot of players out there thought that, this ASL stuff. Well, I'm going to talk about ASL for a minute. I love ASL.
You started your whole channel with ASL,
and I found it very interesting when the starter kit came out. A lot of people switched from full ASL to starter kit, and I found it very interesting that a lot of people said they switched because there was less dice roll. And then when I played it, I was like, there's the same amount of dice rolling. It's just, it makes you think you're not doing as much because there's not as many rules, but there's still just as many dice.
It's not the rules, is it? It's the amount of phases that you go through in ASL. Is that right? There's so many different phases where you have to throw things to see what happens.
The only difference between ASL, full ASL, and starter kit is what they've removed out of the rules, which is bypass movement, sniper rolls, or sniper attacks, and multi-story buildings are the three things that they removed out of the starter kit, or removed out of the game for starter kit. None of those things require dice rolls because they're all like, you're just moving. You get to move through between buildings and stuff. You get to move down the hex spines, is what bypass movement does. Bypass movement is one of the most awesomest rules, and I cannot believe it's not been picked up in another game.
Do you mean they can't be seen as they move these certain places, or?
Well, what happens is you move. Let's me if I can show you like a picture or something.
Am I exposing? I don't know what I mean. I'm exposing myself, Mike. I hope not. I don't.
Please don't.
Come on.
I mean,
Carbon Commander says there's less dice rolling in ASL than other games, or is he missing something? I can't comment because I've not played it. I've got a couple of the starter.
I mean, ASL is kind of built
yes, it has that thing, doesn't it? About the dew on the grass.
Right, yeah. So here is a good example. Like a normally, let's say you're in this building right here, right?
Yeah.
And so you want to move. Let's see if I can find a good example. No, I'll show you a better example. We're going to be here in T7.
Right.
T7? No, T6 right here. All right. Normally, if your units are there and you want to move down to this brown building here, you got to move from this building here into this building here, and then into the open area, and then in that building there. Right. So what you do with bypass movement is you move down this spine, so you're moving in between the two buildings.
So they can't see you.
So if somebody has line of sight to that, they can shoot you, but you don't get the building benefit because you're not in the buildings. You're moving down the.
You're in the alleyway, like an alleyway sort of thing. Yeah.
So it's one of the greatest inventions, because now instead of spending 2 or 3 movement points to move into a building, I can spend 1 movement point to move down the hex side.
But they can shoot you.
But they can shoot me if they have, line of sight. Correct.
Yeah.
I'm distracted because that's
ASL and possibly a little bit of Panzer.
Oh.
Yeah, that's one of the things they removed. They removed the sniper attack. Each side had a sniper attack, if you rolled a certain number on your dice roll. So
And
if you
you
roll a
save-
4,
and-
you get a sniper attack.
And
So,
John says you save movement points by going down that in between.
yeah, you save
buildings.
movement points because
Yeah.
you're not having to go into the building.
Yeah, it's the
spending
same
2
with,
or 3
I know I
movement.
keep mentioning it's the same with Panzer. You can go down alleyways and not go into the building, so you don't have to use the movement cost to go into a building and then into another building. You can go down the alleyway, but of course you're not as well secured because you're still sort of, I know you've got buildings, but you're still exposed to a certain extent. So yeah.
I mean, when we talk about like dice,
Yeah,
yes,
it's
ugly,
1970.
ugly looking
1970,
game
come on.
altogether. Yeah, no excuse. It should look better
Camp
today.
does say yes, and I thought
no.
that was right.
No.
He does say alley movement is bypass movement. Yeah, because it doesn't cost you as much to go down the alley as it would to go into the building and then to another building, but you're still exposed.
So something with dice checking and randomness, an example that something where dice checking demoralizes me as a gamer.
I think we
maybe
just need to take him into
is-
into a room and expose him to tactical games like Nations at War and all that sort of, which is just a dice chucker.
Little Nations at War, Lock and Load Tactical, and he'll be a completely different
Clockwork Orange. Have you
Yeah.
ever seen that where they pin his eyes open and make him look at tactical games?
He's been saying for his first year, I'm not buying any tactical games. How many tactical games do you own now, Nate?
I don't know.
Three.
Yeah. That was 3 more than
I
a
think
year
when
ago.
you started, you said, I'm not buying any tactical games. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Do you consider GTS as a tactical game?
It's got tactical in the name. GTS. Tactical.
Yes.
But anyway, so a game where the dice, I played this 3 separate times, and each time I got so demoralized on the first turn of the game, I gave up. Victory Games is the Civil War.
But yes. Okay. Well,
So that is considered an old classic war game from the 80s. I think it's 83, something like that. It's been lauded by many as the quintessential Civil War strategic game.
Can I ask? I'm not playing a bit of a devil's advocate here. Why haven't I heard that problem before? That you played it and gave up after the first couple of turns. That's what I'm saying.
I have no idea.
It's horses for courses.
I have no idea. But the main mechanism in that game is a dice differential, and each player, each time that you do something, like each action that you take, requires a certain number of points, of command points, and you have a list that you can do. And each time that it's each player's go, each player rolls 2 dice, and then they check the differential between them. And then that's how many points that you get to spend for. My voice.
You're fine with me.
I need to. Maybe it's the stream, but
I know Mike and E4M are saying that, but you're fine with me. Everybody's fine with me, but we are on the hosty thing, aren't we? Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, unfortunately, we're going to have to start to wrap things up anyways.
What
do you want to do before we finish wrapping things up? This is that video Ruff was talking about earlier.
Give it a watch. I think it's your internet.
So the podcast is mine?
Well, I've just got a ring of death.
No, it's because I put the video on pause.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, okay. Yeah. I mean, they are a sort of, they talk about current political things going on, which might not be your thing, but this one in particular, it's just him talking with another chap about Roman London. And it's very interesting, I think. Yeah.
That's cool.
All right. What do we got coming on this week, boys? Anything?
Well, Friday we should be back. Fingers crossed with a bit of Panzer. I know. I love it. I'm sorry, but me and Tony, the infantry should be getting involved, and Camp Sawyer, is helping us along as always. And thank you, Camp. With him, my infantry is in the building. It's nestled in the buildings. I've got my tanks in the buildings, because I've got to take over these, or both of us got to try and take over these buildings. But I'm in there first. So we've got that to look forward to. I've got to finish editing the new Cold War, which it looks a good game. I mean, I've played it, and then the finished product looks great as well. And on the table, I'm starting to video the 5th patrol, 5 out of 6 of Skies Above Britain. I know. That's how it happens. I'm sorry, I haven't been well. These last 3 or 4 days. I want to get it finished because I am enjoying it. And we've lost Groucho, one of the pilots. So a couple of people said, "Oh, I'll do it," but I forgot I've got this optional rule where we might not get the replacements. So we'll see what happens there. Only one left, and then I don't know what to. I'm excited because I don't know what to start on my list next. I may do a poll. I don't know. What do you think? Might do a poll to see what I play next. Yeah. There's some good games.
Do what you want to do, because I mean, it's.
No, I know I'm a bit late to the party. I'm a bit late to the party, but I'll catch up. I've got some great games on that list.
You won't catch up.
So
We'll catch up.
Shush.
So
He's not shush. So we'll see what happens.
It's almost March, and he hasn't even started.
Who cares? I'm enjoying myself. All right. Hopefully my subscribers.
How many you got done, Ruth?
What?
How many games on the list?
I've got to finish. I told you.
We haven't started yet. Me and Nate's got 3 done already.
No, well, I did see on Tack Up that somebody's only just started their first game. So,
there's a bunch that have just started. That's
plenty of time.
Nate, what do you got coming up there? It looks like,
are you going to be videoing that or taking pickies or? Oh, great.
I do have some pictures.
That goes tick to one of yours. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is not on my list.
What?
This was not on my list.
Put it away.
Low Tactical, the Hunters, they were both not on my list this year, Ruff.
I know, and I saw you play Hunters again. I thought, you can't keep away, can you? It's such a great. It is if you're into that thing.
Wait a minute, didn't you put Panzer on your list?
No, you said before, but who knows? Who knows? I might just go put a bit of Panzer Grenadier. But yeah, it's what we're into. That's what makes this hobby so much fun and diverse with people's opinions and what they don't like, what they, some people never play solitaire games. They only play, face to face or two-handed. It's whatever you're into. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Has it gone quiet?
For myself.
Yeah, what are you doing,
Tuesday night over on Nerd Workshop. Thanks for asking. Tuesday night over on Nerd Workshop. I'm going to be knocking him out, winning a game against him. And then Thursday, I think Cardboard Commander is going to maybe have me back. Maybe. There's like a 10% chance he's going to have me back.
He's a glutton for punishment.
Over on his channel, we're going to be playing maybe War C. I'm not sure if it's this week or next week, but we're going to try and get Ward C in. So hopefully, I don't know if he's going to have me back after my...
No, he's a glutton for punishment. He's going to win. We're going to be sending.
I know you guys inspiring him on, talking about him.
Yeah. We're sending
to beat me. I can't wait until he finally wins, so all you guys can give it to me.
You know what? That will be a great show. The War Room. There'll be poppers. There'll be
champagne everywhere.
Fanfares, the lot. But yeah, I tell you what, I'm looking forward. I haven't watched them yet, but you're fighting for me. I'm glad that Tony's doing Fields of Fire with one of the sort of designers, but the guy that
kind of redesigning
with the deluxe thing. I'm looking forward to Nerdy and yourself. Going to watch those. Waiting for my fighting formations. Because somebody, I think Dave wants to play Panzer at PunchCon. That's great. I'm not sure. I want to play fighting formations. So it's because I go on the train, don't drive up there. I just go on the train. It's only an hour away. So, I don't want to go loaded up with games, but might take fighting formations and somebody can because Dangerous Dave taught me it the first time we played it. I had great fun with it. So I might see how we do. Might take that up and just set it up and see who turns up and said, I'll play. All right, we'll do that. So
don't forget, you can
those videos.
still bid for the General magazine from, what was this?
I know, I'm trying to catch up, Nordic.
Volume 31, number 2, General magazine, Phantom Leader, and Space Infantry. This is a heavy beast. This was loaded with all kinds of stuff. I think it's got all the expansions. I know it's got the big boy expansion. I don't know if there's a little one, but you can, if you want any like pictures or anything, I could send you a picture if you're interested to find out exactly what's in here. But again, everything you donate for us will go into the funds where we can ship out games at the end of the year. So we'd appreciate any donations you guys can do. And in return, you're going to get brand new, wonderful game, TVG, Phantom Leader. Phantom is like one of my favorite planes, not right, Ruff. All right, well, we're already way over as usual, so we apologize for that.
But thank
Next
you.
week over on Ruff's channel. And then the following week, I won't be here, so we won't have Jester's Junkyard then. Until then, my friends, have a good week.
Oh,
Enjoy
Gareth is going to play Fighting Formations with me at PunchCon. So there we go. Got my weekend sorted out with Panzer and Fighting Formations.
So William Bird's 4 out of 10 so far.
I know, terrible. I mean, a Cardboard Commander's only just started.
Give him a break. He's had a rough week. He was sick.
I was.
I know you were. I know. I was sick 2 weeks ago. I only got 12 videos out. Thanks.
Yeah, all right.
Well, I think we should say goodbye to everybody. So
bye, everyone.
Anyway, thank you as always. Thank you as always for
hit that like button. The like button. Hit it.
Yeah, hit that like button. He needs it.
Hit it if you want Jester to win.
Oh no, you won't. No, you won't get it now.